What is going on, everybody? My name is Baloo and welcome to the jungle. This is the channel where we take a very simple approach to technical analysis. We look at the price in the context of volume using the Wyckoff method. If that is something that interests you, then why don't you follow me on Twitch or hit the subscribe button if you're joining in on YouTube. In today's video, I want to discuss just the market. So we've had a pretty good run last week as far as the altcoins were concerned. We got a nice move inside of Bitcoin and, let's just get a temperature check and kind of see where we are in the market. And I'm gonna take a look at some of the charts such as Bitcoin. I wanna look at the CME futures chart on Bitcoin. I wanna look at the Ethereum Bitcoin pair and Bitcoin dominance. So kind of, the charts that I like to use a lot when I'm judging the health of the market. We're not gonna dive into too many altcoins, but there are two altcoins in particular that I wanna take a look at. I wanna look at Avalanche, and I also wanna take another look at MPH token because I've dived into the fundamentals on that token. I got very excited on the channel here with that token, and there's some fundamentals that I need to bring to your attention so that you can make a more informed decision. So let's just not waste any more time and let's jump right into the charts here. So we're going to start here on Bitcoin. We are kind of in this reaccumulation on this backup. So if I just zoom out here, let's go to the 6-hour chart, kind of get the macro perspective as to where we are. We are in this reaccumulation schematic, very healthy, nice reaccumulation. We hit a buyer's climax, automatic reaction. We didn't close any candle bodies on higher time frames below this automatic reaction line. That's showing a lot of strength. On the daily, we have maintained well above the 21-week moving average. It's a very nice consolidation. Now, there are no guarantees that this does not take a step lower, but my focus of interest right now in the short term is this area right here. So we've left the channel, we've left the trading range, and we're now up here, and we're trying to decide whether this does need to make it does need to come down and test the box a little bit more before we can make a move up, or if this is just kind of a flag formation and we're going to take off from here. So that's kind of what I'm looking at right now. So let me just focus in on this area of concern right here. And always get that pen involved when I don't want it. So I'm just gonna spread this out a little bit. We're down here on the hourly chart. You know what? This is not enough resolution. Let's go to the 30-minute chart. And I am going to just kind of look at the structure here and decide if maybe we potentially need to come down and test the larger trading range, because that's typically what happens. You get a sign of strength and then you come down. Thank you for the follow. You get a come down to the line of the buyer's climax, and then you test that level, and when you're able to test and hold it as support, that's the confirmation that a lot of traders and a lot of investors are looking for to take a position to the long side inside of Bitcoin. So that's what we're kind of trying to figure out right now. Now, if we look at this schematic or this trading range, we have our buyer's climax right here, our automatic reaction right here, and a little bit of a shakeout. The shakeout came on good volume, lots of demand, and kind of held above our 125 or our 147 EMA here on the 30-minute chart. We then got a little bit of an upthrust. We got a nice strength move to the top of the trading range. And this is where we met a lot of supply, and we didn't get very good confirmation on this upthrust. So as you can see here, we had a few wicks come above. We were not able to close any candle bodies above the line of the buyer's climax. We got one candle body to close above the buyer's climax line. However, it did get a bit of a sell-off, so a lot of supply came in there. And then we got another rally up. We did close. But what we haven't had in this area is we haven't had a candle body close above and then the next body stay above. So, that's kind of, it's an upthrust. It wasn't ready to commit. So we did come back inside the range. We got a nice demand signature here, as you can see in the volume. This is kind of, I'm calling it a test. I'm calling it an LPS, last point of support, and I did draw an LPS line there. For those who are just joining the channel or maybe are unfamiliar, This style of analysis is called the Wyckoff method. It was invented back in the early 1900s by a stock operator by the name of Richard D. Wyckoff, who developed this technique, and it still holds true today. Very powerful technique, especially in crypto markets, at least from what I'm seeing, because crypto markets have a lot of fake outs. So this method really does kind of calm you down and allow you to stop, look, and listen, and really take in the information so that you can make a better trading decision, because the volatility is so extreme in this market. So we got a question here from Shlomi Levi. Regarding your subject of today, it seems like people moved from alts to USD, looking based on the BTC dominance and BTC price. When can I foresee such thing beforehand? So if you're looking for easy one-fit answers, they don't really exist in, trying to predict the future is very, very hard. You can take a position based on the information that is in front of you in the present tense, but there is no, if you see this will happen. That just doesn't happen in markets. So it's a lot healthier and it's a lot easier for you to kind of accept the fact that you do not know, and you can take smaller position sizes, mitigate risk in case you are wrong, and kind of decide where the strength lies. So if I'm looking at a consolidation pattern and I see that there is strength in the asset, my bias will be bullish and I will position my trades bullish. But it does not mean that it's going to go up. It just means that based on my analysis, I have taken a bullish position, and I'm looking for the next step in that consolidation to confirm my bias. So currently, what I'm seeing inside of Bitcoin is a bias to the bullish side, but there is no guarantee, and you would not be able to necessarily be able to predict a downside move inside of the altcoins. I will say that if you are in spot positions, we are in a very healthy and favorable trading environment for the entire crypto space as a whole. So, obviously there's never guarantees. I like to always emphasize that fact, but based on what we're seeing currently, we're in an environment that does have reactions to the downside, that does also rally to higher highs. So just based on that, I think that, if you were unable to pull the trigger on taking profits or maybe de-risking some of your positions in the short term, holding is kind of working right now. We're not in a range-bound environment. We are in an uptrending environment. So as far as what I'm looking for in strength, you can keep it very simple. Higher highs and higher lows are very, classic. We've got a high here, higher high, and we've got a low and a higher low. So, very, very solid price structure. Every time the price advances, we make a new high, and every time we react, we make a higher low. This is the simplest way that you can interpret strength, but we can also dive into the volume and some of the larger time frames for you to be able to kind of determine what looks like a reaccumulation pattern. And what I'm seeing here, for those who are unfamiliar, is kind of this schematic that we have in the free Discord. If you're not already in the Discord, please follow the links below. It's a free Discord that has a ton of free PDFs. It's all stuff that I just grabbed from the internet. If you type into Google, the Wyckoff method, you can find a ton of free resources. I've just collected some of those resources and curated them and consolidated them down into what I thought was valuable and offered them for free inside of the Discord. So if you aren't already there, feel free to go ahead and take a look at this. Now, reaccumulation schematic number 3, you reach a buyer's climax, you get a little bit of a shakeout, you reach your secondary test, which kind of breaks above the buyer's climax line. Then we kind of fall down, we get a little bit of a creek line here, a break, and another tight consolidation over top of the range. So this is currently what we're kind of looking at here. If I just tighten this up a little bit, you can kind of see, oops, don't need the pen there. We have our buyer's climax. I have an automatic reaction here, but in the schematic, it went all the way down to the shakeout. We got an up thrust that made a higher level, and then we had that kind of move where we jumped across the creek, so the creek could be indicated here. This is our creek line, and now we have jumped across, we're consolidating above. So potentially we could just test this line for a little bit more before committing to another upside move. We're going to have to wait and see. It is currently the weekend, but it is also Sunday, so the CME futures on Bitcoin will be opening today at around 1 o'clock Western time, Pacific time, somewhere around there. You can go on CME.com and find out the opening hours for the futures, but either which way, futures open today. I think it's 5 o'clock Chicago time. Chicago is where that exchange is based. So let's go ahead and take a look at the CME futures chart. Yes, we can go ahead and take a look at Uniswap later on in the stream, time permitting. Scenes Music says it will crash more. It's potential. There is a potential there. You know, I think that the word crash is a little bit dramatic. A crash is where you basically, you know, a lot of long traders lose their position, and we would break market structure if it was a crash. So I think, you know, a downside consolidation is definitely in the cards. A crash is a little too early and a little too dramatic to say. Okay, so here we are on the CME futures chart. Same sort of thing, a lot cleaner. I like the CME futures chart. Yeah, there's gaps, but honestly, the gaps don't matter. You know, people in traditional finance, they're trading stocks. There's gaps all over. If you haven't looked at the stock charts when you're doing your analysis, there is gaps everywhere. I know when we were range bound, a lot of people were saying that every gap needs to be filled. And to a certain extent, I do agree with that in a range bound environment. I actually think that when we are trending to the upside, gaps can be kind of an indication of trend. So when the market opens with a gap up, which where we currently stand with Bitcoin will be the case, that could be a bullish sign that the market is bullish. We gapped up, it's time to put in longs. You know, gaps are not foolproof. So here we are, we have this consolidation here, and I'm just gonna see what happens when the market opens. So if we do remain bullish on spot charts, we are going to get a little bit of a gap up. If the new gap up opens at a higher high, you might get a little bit of a move down just to kind of potentially fill the gap. It honestly does not need to fill. And then we could probably see some bullish sentiment after that. There is a lot of bullish news in the space. There are a lot of big players who are getting involved with Bitcoin, and traditional finance at every level knows this. So I don't think that people are opening up short positions. I think that people are long Bitcoin, and you know, we might see a minor correction here and there. But as far as a crash, we're gonna have to see some pretty big market moves that may even come with some sort of news to kind of get into that sort of territory. Okay. I think that BTC is looking good in the short term. I don't think that it is looking to correct. I think that the structure is very bullish. Let's go ahead and take a look at Bitcoin dominance. This is a chart that is very good for you to reference from time to time, just to kind of get a little bit of market health as to what's going on. So here I am on the 3-day chart. Usually I'm on smaller time frames with this, kind of like the 4-hour, for like that intraday short-term health of the market. But I kind of want to get a sense as to where I think we are as far as an altcoin cycle. And you know, we are trending in the right direction for an altcoin cycle. We are falling below the 147 EMA, and you know, we've back tested on top of that, and we're falling to lower levels. Now, some levels to take into consideration. We are going to mark this level right here, which is kind of the last point of the last rally inside of Bitcoin dominance. There we go, right there. And that's right at about 52% dominance. And then another level in the short term that we want to take note of is this level here where we bounced most recently. And that is somewhere around 57% in the Bitcoin dominance. So seeing a little bit of a bounce here, you can see the tail end on this 3-day candle that is due to close today. So this candle will close today, and it has a lot of demand. We have a lot of buying pressure, a lot of pressure indicating that Bitcoin could be taking a move. We could be taking a bounce at this level. So watch out for that. Altcoins may need to kind of cool off. We may need to rest. And this can kind of take a few different directions. We could see the bounce. We could see the flee to Bitcoin dominance in the form of a de-risking of altcoin positions for downside moves. That can happen, but Bitcoin dominance can also rise as Bitcoin rallies. I think that Bitcoin is poised in a position where it could potentially rally, but if we did see a correction further in the altcoin space, we can also see Bitcoin dominance rally as a result of that. So Bitcoin dominance, it's not a clear-cut thing as far as, if it's going up, it doesn't mean that altcoins bleed, and if it's going down, it doesn't mean that altcoins do well. It's a little bit more nuanced than that. So there's two potential options as far as what we could see. And it does look as though we are bouncing off of this previous level that we wicked to here. So let me just draw a line there. Oops. Right about there. We got a nice bounce off of that level. We pierced through it again, and we're bouncing off of there. So let's go ahead and drop down into the lower time frames and kind of see where we're at as far as the dominance chart. We are finding a lot of support at that level currently, but the overall trend is down. And this is good. This is what any altcoin investor wants to see. Is you do want to see that on the Bitcoin dominance chart, we are making lower highs and we are making lower lows. This most recent low is a lower low. We didn't see a double bottom. If we got a nice clean bounce off of this level here, that would have been a double bottom, and that could indicate a possible trend reversal. And right now we don't have a higher high. So there is no break of the current trend. There is no break in the structure right now. So the trend is your friend until it ends, and the trend is down inside of Bitcoin dominance. Okay. Audio and my audio is out of sync. Okay, well, I will have to figure out why that may be. Not something that I'm going to be doing in the stream, so my apologies for the inconsistency in the audio. I will go and figure that out in the back end after the stream is over. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. Okay, now another chart that I like to look at as far as kind of gauging the health of the altcoin space is the Ethereum Bitcoin pair. When charting alternative currencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum, you want to identify the trend. Ethereum's performance when compared to Bitcoin, basically since September of 2018. Wow. Okay, this is quite a lot of data we're looking at here. Yeah, so we've been range bound since the bottom of the bear market in 2018 in terms of Ethereum's performance when compared to Bitcoin. And it is just as of late that we are starting to print higher highs and higher lows. So this is indicating that altcoins are becoming more and more risk on, and that we are going to start seeing an outperformance in Ethereum when compared to Bitcoin. Ethereum is kind of the leader as far as the risk tolerance. DeFi has been huge. We've seen a lot of incredible plays inside of the DeFi space, and that has really set apart some of the leaders when comparing the performance of assets from previous cycles. VeChain has kind of been lagging, Litecoin, a lot of the alternative currencies from the previous cycle have not been performing anywhere near as well as the altcoins that are associated with decentralized finance. Now, this chart could indicate that we could see not only outliers in performance, but an overall health in the altcoin space. As long as the project is needed, I think that we're going to start seeing some performance. Okay, so yeah, things are looking great. That's kind of the health side of things as far as this stream is concerned. just kind of like to reference those charts from time to time. It's important for you to do so as well. Another one that's really good is total market cap, total 2, which is the entire altcoin space. So it's the total market cap minus Bitcoin. These are very good charts for you to kind of look at on days like today, where you're just trying to kind of figure out, is this just a temporary reaction? Are we seeing a trend reversal? Do I need to reposition my portfolio? And how do I want to handle my trades? Am I taking profits? Am I closing positions? Am I just waiting it out? And from what I can see on all the charts that I've looked at thus far, I think that this is just a very short-term and temporary dip. There's nothing that is showing me severe trend reversals. There's nothing that is showing me that, that everybody is going to flood into Bitcoin. I do think that Bitcoin is poised for a little bit of a move, but I also don't think that the altcoins are going to be far behind if that move were to take place. Just my opinion. And yeah, Litecoin is at all-time high, and Ethereum is at an all-time high. We're at a lot of those previous coins at all-time high, and Bitcoin is more than double its all-time high. So there's definitely room for a lot of these coins to kind of catch up. But you're right, hodling and waiting these things out can be beneficial. So a couple of the altcoins that I do want to take a look at. One that I freaking slept on. I knew about this one. Shout out to those who are in Arcane Bear down the private group. We have been kind of talking about Avalanche for far too long. Myself, not so much, because I did not fully understand the value that was being proposed at the time. I did not understand that Avalanche was working on the Ethereum virtual machine. I didn't do my homework, basically. And Avalanche is doing cross-chain communication, atomic swaps. It's doing a lot of fantastic things that the space needs, and it's also providing a DEX, Pangolin, that is offering, the same services as Uniswap at very low fees, all while using ERC20 tokens. This is pretty profound. This is a big deal. This is the first project, as far as I'm aware, other than Binance Smart Chain, that is its own kind of ecosystem that is working in conjunction with Ethereum, with the Ethereum bridge on the virtual machine. And there may be other projects that I'm not aware of, but this one's really gaining traction, and it has some pretty good fundamentals to go along with the technicals here. So we had a huge run up in Avalanche, massive run up, and now I am looking to finally get a position. I really am kicking myself for sleeping on this one. Tio with the Arcane Bear has been beating this drum for quite a while, and I just didn't see it. But when you see a market move such as what we've seen inside of Avalanche, you tend to pay attention. Now, I am not FOMOing into this one. I don't FOMO into any coin. I do my research. I make sure that the technicals are there, and I want to see the technical setup. So as far as Avalanche is concerned, we are in a reaccumulation. We are making lower highs and lower lows. So basically what I want to see is I want to see something that is going to kind of invalidate, or not invalidate, but I need to see a trend change. So basically we can see this kind of downsloping line of resistance here. I'm just going to kind of pick a point which I think is valuable. I'm going to go from here, actually. I'm going to drag a line. I'm just going to drag it to the first couple touch points. So this is our resistance line, okay? And this is often called the creek. We can even name it. We'll call it the creek. In Wyckoff, it's just one of those methods that Richard D. Wyckoff and Jesse Livermore used to kind of know when the strength was re-entering the asset. So right now, we're in a downtrend. We need to see that large move to the upside. There's going to be a large green candle if we are in fact in accumulation. We're going to see a large powerful candle come in that is going to break that resistance with very little effort involved. So you'll, and when I say effort, I mean it'll just blast through it. There will be volume come in. So we're going to see something that looks potentially like this, where you get a strong move and then a retest of the creek line before I move to the top of the range and a continuation to the upside. Now, this is in confluence with a lot of pattern traders. There are a lot of pattern traders drawing triangles all the time. We're not drawing the whole triangle. We're just looking at that downsloping line of resistance that is usually correlated with a break of the lower end of the trading range. So as soon as we break the lower end of the trading range, find the local resistance, and we'll look for that jump across the creek. When we get that, look to make an entry somewhere in the test area of that. We want to make sure that the trend is changing. We want to make sure that things are changing in the market as structurally, because the demand and the fundamentals are certainly there. Yes, so currently it is not available on US exchanges, which is unfortunate. It's kind of tricky. If you were using the DEX itself, if you were using the Avalanche decentralized exchange, you could purchase more Avalanche with Ethereum. But the only caveat to that is you do need a small amount of Avalanche to cover the transaction fees. So if you can find a friend or somebody from another part of the world where they have access to this, maybe you could just PayPal them a small amount, like 20, 50 bucks. You don't need much. Avalanche is very cheap as far as fees. Then once you're set up with the Avalanche virtual machine or the Avalanche DEX, you can then use the Ethereum bridge, purchase the Ethereum that you bought in the US, bring it into the DEX, and then transfer it for Avalanche. Kind of long-winded and not easy, but hey, when there's friction, there's opportunity. So do your own research, figure out a safe way to get your hands on it if you are in fact wanting to accumulate this asset. There are never guarantees. I am not here to tell you what to buy. I am here to show you this method of analysis and kind of show you my thought process as far as what I look for potentially profitable setups. Nothing more, nothing less. So of course you assume all risk and you do you, but there are ways. You just kind of got to get creative. I think that this is a fantastic project, by the way, and I do believe that there will be offerings in the US for this project. So if you kind of want to front run that, you got to do some running around and you got to get creative with it. Oh, it is available in the US on Voyager. So that's an exchange that I'm not familiar with, but there you go. So another token that I want to take a look at is MPH. Those who are new, you haven't heard me mention this before, but those who are from previous streams, you'll know that I got pretty excited when I saw the user interface and the website on MPH. This is a very interesting project. Basically, they have found a way to eliminate fees, zero fees to do derivatives exchanging, and that is the caveat here. These are 100% derivatives contracts. What a derivative is it's a piece of paper that there's an agreement on value somewhere else. So I am going to sign a contract saying that I am going to buy Ethereum at this price, at this leverage, and there is going to be another person to the short side of that, and we agree upon the value proposition of this contract is based or deriving its value based on the spot position or the spot performance of the Ethereum. Now, how they are able to do it for zero fees is instead of signing a contract, you actually stake your MPH tokens into the contract, into the smart contract. And it's very brilliant what they are doing, because let's say I have I want to take 100 MPH and I'm going to put it on a long position on Ethereum. I'm going to take those 100 MPH, I am going to place it into the smart contract, and then depending on the performance of the derivative, I will receive a new token amount based on the performance of that asset. For example, if Ethereum increases in 10%, when I unstake those tokens, I will not have 100 MPH, I will have 110 MPH. Brilliant, brilliant. This is a limitless liquidity because there is technically no short seller. You are basically just interacting with the smart contract itself. The liquidity is instant, the fees are zero. It's very cool. However, This relies on the underlying asset, MPH token. Now, MPH is a publicly traded token. There is going to be volatility associated with the payout of the MPH token. So, Ethereum goes up 10%. I have my 110 MPH tokens. With that 110, thank you for the follow, Misuhub. When I get those 110, the US dollar value of those 110 MPH tokens are an unknown. So yes, zero fees, yes, instantaneous transactions, yes, infinite liquidity, but you're also holding the underlying asset, which creates volatility in itself. They are rolling out USD pair settlement as well, and this is where the investment aspect of holding this token becomes very muddied, because what MPH token is doing is, because it has no capped supply, they are going to print as many as they need, and they are going to burn as many as they need to satisfy these contracts in short time. Investing in this token is a huge unknown. This is a huge unknown. If you are going to invest in the MPH token itself, you are going to really want to hold this long term, because its value proposition is 100% determined on the performance of the platform itself. So if the platform is not adopted, if the platform is not used, and if the traders are, there's many factors that contribute to the supply. So very interesting project. If you are wanting to take a risk on investing in MPH, just know the supply metrics that are associated with this asset, because there's no cap. It's infinite. So be aware of that and limit risk accordingly. We are in the adoption phase of many of these assets, so price appreciation does have the ability to come in. However, I don't know how. I have nothing to compare it to. It's the first of its kind, so its performance is clearly unknown. Proceed with caution. Anyways, on the chart here, we are comparing it against Ethereum. I'm going to keep this one very, very simple. We want to see this downsloping line of resistance break. So as soon as we can get a break above this level, the trend is your friend until it ends, and the trend is down. So until we can break above that and hold and start to change the trend into higher highs and higher lows, it's not an asset that I am looking to purchase at all. So anyways, okay, so now we will get to the community portion of the show, where I answer some of your questions and look at some of the chart requests that come in as a result of the chat. Now, the chat, I am obviously not going to be able to get to all of the tokens. I'm not going to be able to get to all of the chats. I'm not going to be able to get to all of the charts, rather, but I will do my best. And if I randomly skip yours, I'm sorry. I'm just looking at the chat and picking randomly. Okay. Okay. So I have looked into Reef. I have not looked into APY. Actually, I did briefly look at APY as it was trending on CoinGecko. It's going straight up. I don't know what you want me to do with that as far as analysis. You need to wait for a trading range to develop. Whether it be short term or long term, you need a trading range to develop. So as far as APY, it's kind of left the building. You've missed your opportunity as far as getting in at the accumulation phase. So you need to look for opportunity at the reaccumulation. So, wow, a lot of these tokens I have not heard of. There's so many tokens now, it's crazy. This is struggling to load here. Let me close some of the tabs. Briefly, actually, I did also want to touch, I got a question in the Discord in regards to what is the difference between margin on Binance using the Binance margin account, and what is the difference between futures account. So I will just, while this is loading here, kind of explain that. So if you're using leverage on Binance, there's margin coins and then there's futures. So futures is a contract. You are purchasing a contract where there are two parties involved. There is the long buyer and there is the short seller. It is the purest version of me taking your money that there is. These are contracts, they are derivatives, they derive their value based on the underlying asset, and it's a winner-take-all position. The leverage is written into the contract and it is assigned to that contract. So I guess the easier way to explain it is to go to the margin side. Margin is a loan, and it's usually a collateralized loan. So if you were to kind of fund your margin account with, be it Bitcoin, Ethereum, or USDT, Tether, you would get a loan based on a percentage of that collateral. So you would still get to hold the underlying asset, and you would get a loan against that. So let's say I had $1,000 in Ethereum, I might get a $600 loan in USD Tether to trade on the margin account, which is technically spot. Those are spot coins. Those are coins that you are buying with a loan, and that loan has daily interest. Futures, you're not buying a coin. You're buying a contract. You're signing a contract with a short seller if you are on the long side, and you are signing a contract with a long buyer if you are on the short side. And it is an agreement between two parties as far as the bet on the future performance of that asset. That's where the word futures comes from. So that's basically the biggest difference between those two. Yeah. So it's one is a contract and one is a bank loan, is the simpler way to kind of explain that. So let's go ahead and take a look at which one do I feel like doing? You know what? I'm choosing Link. Sorry guys, I'll do another one that I haven't heard of, but let's go ahead and take a look at Link first. Link has been appreciating in value, which is very good to see. Here we are on the perpetual futures contracts of Link. Let me go down to a higher, up to a higher time frame here. And here we kind of had my accumulation. This is a reaccumulation after decline schematic here. Basically, you have a distribution event at the buyer's climax, which reaches lows. So basically, you have an automatic reaction, you get a bit of a rally, and then you keep making lower lows. So it's one of the weakest of the reaccumulation schematics. You know, these kind of schematics that you can find in my Discord. But, you know, we've been making higher highs and higher lows since we printed the spring back here at the end of December. So right before Christmas, I'm sure all the Link Marines went home and started talking to their family about buying Link. And we've been making higher highs and higher lows ever since. As you can see, we kind of have a bit of a parabola forming. So, you know, things are definitely heating up in Link, where I wouldn't be surprised to see some higher levels and maybe a real push to the upside inside of Link. We're trending in the right direction, and the trend is your friend until it ends. There's nothing that's going to tell me that this is going down, because it's quite clearly going up, and we could go into the smaller time frames and we're still going to see that confluence of an uptrend. So short term, it's going up. I'm not concerned about what is going here. What you want to keep an eye out for is a spike in the volume. So we might get an increase in the volume that is light, and then there will be a spike in the volume. So watch out for that spike in volume, because that's indicating a lot of supply entering. I wouldn't be surprised to see it come in at some big even number like $40 or $45 or maybe even $50. I have no idea as far as a price target. I just know what is happening at the time that it is happening. So when you see a ton of supply come in that is unusual and above all of the other supply signatures inside of the volume, it might be your indication, or it might be your indicator rather, that it is time to take profit and de-risk some of that position. You can de-risk any way that you want. So inside of Link, looks good. You know, obviously you would have wanted to get in at the backup. Shout out to those in my VIP group who were charting Link. I've been really focused on band protocol. So, you know, a lot of my focus has been looking at band. They're kind of competing chains, and Link is leading band as far as price structure. So I was always looking at band a little bit, because if they do follow each other, I can kind of see the direction that Link is headed and kind of make, you know, approximations as where I think band protocol is. So I was looking at band, but shout out to those who were looking at Link in my group, because you guys are doing good. You know, you were making entries down at $20. We're already up 50% from there. So congratulations, more than 50%. So shout out to you guys. Now I'll go ahead and take a look at some of these other ones that I haven't heard of. So MFT. Let's go ahead and look at MFT. Let's go to CoinGecko. MFT. Hi-Fi Finance. Okay, so incredibly low or incredibly high circulating supply on this one. You know, a lot of new investors, they want to buy stuff that's cheap because they get a lot of coins. So a lot of people like to see those, you know, tens of thousands of coins inside of their wallet. So that's kind of a proposition factor that is going into this. Let's go to hi-fi.finance and see what they're all about. What do I think about BTT? That is BitShares, I believe. Is that BitShares? BTT. I think it had a very good run up, and you guys got to start filtering through the charts and looking for the setups that haven't happened yet. There is so much opportunity in here. It's in your best interest to find this stuff that is showing the solid technicals as it's leaving an accumulation. Buying these big green candles, they're not going to do you any favors. You might be able to catch a big green candle on its way up to higher levels, but you're going to find a lot more success finding something that's really starting to gain momentum as it's leaving an accumulation range. So please join the Discord and learn about how to identify these ranges, because they're very powerful, especially in a bull market. So some sort of token launch, hi-fi lending protocol. We have a lot of lending protocols in this space. What do you know what is this built on? Is this built on Ethereum? Because I feel like if it's built on Ethereum, we've got a lot of lending platforms that are already well on their way. Fundamentals, meh. I could dive into it more, but that's not what this channel is about. Let's go ahead and take a look at the technicals. And if we go to the max, it's okay. So it's been around for a while, actually. It's been around for a long while. Okay, so that's good. That's good. We're meeting some local resistance around the all-time high. Let's go ahead and look at the chart. Okay, hi-fi. Or what? Wait, no, it's not hi-fi. What is it? MFT. Mainframe. Okay, yeah, no, mainframe. Yeah, we were, people in the bear den were talking about mainframe. So definite change of character. This is good. So if you have not taken a position inside of mainframe here, you know, now is the time to pay attention, because we have a change of character. What is a change of character? A change of character is when the characteristics of the price action change. So we're in an uptrend here. We're moving up, and then something changed and we started moving sideways. Now, this upthrust here does not look great as far as structure. We're going to want to monitor that and see if it makes a lower low, because if we make a lower low than this off of this upthrust here, that's not a very good indicator of strength, and we could be looking at a short-term distribution. But the volume is not crazy, so you know, we're going to have to just wait and see on that one. So we can go ahead and draw a range on this. Let's just drop a range right there. This is essentially our trading range. It's early, you know, we're in phase A, you know, we're kind of setting the width of the range. We're gonna need to see how this develops. So, you know, if you see this move kind of break down from here, if we see a sell-off from here, that's gonna be considered a sign of weakness, and I would watch out for that. Especially pay attention to the volume. If the volume starts to build inside of this instead of contract, you might want to consider selling some of your position. Thank you for the follow, CapXU. You might want to consider selling a portion of your position, or de-risking your position, or however you want to manage your risk on one of those up thrusts, because quite often in distribution you get a lot of up thrusts. So just because we break structure doesn't mean that you need to panic and leave, especially when you're this early in phase A. So mainframe had a huge run, incredible run, but it has a change of character, and we're now monitoring the situation on that one. Okay. Peter Smith, just about the back on the Binance margin and futures, which one is a better choice for different situations. So basically, when you're using leverage, you have higher leverage in derivatives because you're not, it's an agreement between two peers when you're using futures and derivatives. So you can get higher leverage. It requires a lot more maintenance. It usually requires higher funding. So it's expensive overall, but it allows you to use capital that you do not have. Whereas taking a margin loan, if you're right, you hold two assets that are both appreciating. So, leverage is risky. You need to really know what you're doing with leverage. But if I hold Ethereum and I take out a loan on that Ethereum, the loan is holding the Ethereum as collateral. So if Ethereum increases in price, meanwhile, I have a loan for USD Tether and I invest in other assets that also increase in price and do well, now I've got a bunch of coins and a bunch of equity in other assets based on the loaned amount, and I only need to repay the Tether. So I don't need to repay in Ethereum. So, let's say I took out a loan for $2,600, or $2,500 against my Ethereum, and Ethereum goes to 20K. Let's say I crap the bed on the trades in the margin account, and I kind of get to the point where I'm getting a margin call. Maybe I'll just stop trading and try and get my Ethereum back. Or, if you're doing well, it's only going to cost you $2,500 to get back your Ethereum. That might cost a lot more than that. So it's like you're holding two. Guys, please be very careful with leverage. If you are unable to make a profit in spot markets, do not touch leverage. On this channel, I do not have links to Femex. I do not have links to Bybit. I do not have any affiliation with any of those leveraged platforms because I feel that people are going to get shaken out of this market and really miss out on the opportunity that is presenting itself around you. You are in a very innovative space that has a lot of upside, and it's very important for you to preserve your capital. And getting into futures and leverage where the downside outcome actually removes those assets from your life will kind of, it could end very badly, and you can watch an emerging asset class grow around you where you're not involved. So please, just preserve your capital, invest in spot, use your stop losses in spot markets. And if you cannot make money in spot markets, you do not have a hope in heck of making money in futures and derivatives. So please just take that, be honest with yourself, because this is an incredible space that you're in as far as innovation, and there's upside opportunity. Okay. Ethereum or Link, which one do you think will outperform, or is this tough to gauge? It's kind of tough to gauge because, lost my light. Anyways, let me just crank up the ISO here. Light died. It's kind of hard to gauge because if Link did have quite a run already, and Ethereum has been underperforming when compared to. So, I don't know. I don't have the answers. Nobody really does. It's just about analyzing the market in real time, getting exposure to the assets that align with your fundamentals as to where you see the space is going, and enjoy the ride. Okay. Too many coins to filter. Yeah, so a method for filtering out, how do I find a setup, basically? You need to load your watch list up. So right now I have this Binance futures watch list. I'm trading futures, you do you. Please be careful. But every asset on Binance that has a futures contract or a futures derivative associated with this is on this watch list. That's it. I don't know 3/4 of these coins or what they do. None at all. But what I do is I look through the setups. So I just put it on auto here, and I'm just identifying the trend. So I'm on auto here. I might go to the daily. I'll take my toolbar away, and I just hit the down bar, hit the down key. And I start looking for trading environments that are looking favorable, or ones that are occurring we're having a change of character occur here. We can see a change of character. This is in Cardano. So Cardano is forming a new range. I might want to, slap a range on that and maybe tag it to look at later because it's had a huge markup. This one also, a lot of these are starting new ranges. We have a lot of new ranges developing. Alpha's starting a new range. We have a lot of phase A occurring right now. So that tells me that we have time. These assets are going to cool off. I'm just looking through the setups, nothing. It's already gone. Oh, wait, what's this? Band. So yeah, we're waiting on Band. Band is ready to make a move, in my opinion. I think that this one's just a little bit further behind what's going on with Link. So, I'm looking at Band. I have Band charted up. BAT is taking off, huge. A lot of these have taken off. We've had a very good week. So a bit of a cool off is fine. But yeah, I'm just hitting the down key and I'm looking for the setups. This one has some potential. What is this? CRV. So CRV's forming a little bit of is hitting an area of supply. I think I made note of these two levels here based on the point and figure counts of this accumulation. So very cool to see that previous analysis is proving to be the area where supply comes in. So I hit the nail on the head with those price projections. No, I didn't take a position, but I'm looking at charts all day. I find these setups everywhere. Yeah, a lot of stuff is just at its first change of character. So you're just seeing all of this stuff, and it's just a change of character. So a lot of new trading ranges are developing. Maybe Bitcoin takes a run here. Maybe Bitcoin corrects. I don't know. Oh, what's this one? This one looks like so Litecoin. Litecoin's looking not bad, actually. Litecoin is looking not bad. It's just kind of leaving this accumulation, so maybe we get a little bit of a reaccumulation here before we move up. Litecoin doesn't look bad. Litecoin is great for later on in the cycle. It's very accessible, it's very easy to buy, and as we get a flood of new investors coming in, they're not using MetaMask, they're not doing DeFi, they're not doing any of that stuff. They're buying Bitcoin, and then they see that right beside the place that they bought Bitcoin is Ethereum and Litecoin. So, the new investors are going to go for those ones that are just in the wallet. They're ready to go, and they could just hit buy. Like, nobody is going to learn how to use a decentralized exchange. You guys know that stuff. For the most part, but these new people coming in late at the cycle, they're not going to care, they're not going to learn, and the market is going to be very favorable, and it is not going to incentivize them to even bother. So, a lot of these coins are going to do well later on in the cycle, in my opinion. Yeah, and that's basically what I do. Okay, so Uni, sure, yeah, you keep asking about Uni. We'll do Uni real quick, but again, it's one of those ones that has same story. So we have a little bit of a change of character here. I'm just going to remove all these drawings. A little bit of a change of character, so let's slap a range on it. Let's go down to the 8 hour and let's see what's going on. A little bit of a rounded formation. It's not the best structure, but it's still too early to say. So here's kind of the change of character right here. I'm going to draw a parallel channel on top of Uni. I'm going to start it right here, and I'm going to carry it across. Yeah, let me just go like this. Kind of an upsloping accumulation, it seems, on Uni. Get this out of the way. Yeah, I think it's an upsloping accumulation on this one. Upsloping accumulations are nice to know where they are as far as a buy. So technically we're at the bottom of the range. Technically it would be considered a buy signal to be down at this part of the range. And they're nice because, you can, thank you for the follow, Elde Jilj. When they break structure. And when they do break structure, you're at an opportunity to kind of not experience too much of the downside potential. When you're buying something that is downsloping and you buy at the bottom of the channel, we could go up and then we could go down and break structure at a lower level than where you bought. Whereas when you are breaking structure at a higher level than where you bought, it gives you the opportunity to exit. So what I mean by that is, this area right here, this would be the previous low. You would want to place your stop loss somewhere below that level. So we can just make that stop loss my stop. So yeah, you place your stop loss somewhere below that level. And then, if we broke market structure right here, let's say you bought right down here, at this level. Let's say you bought here. If you bought here and it went down, that would suck. But you know, anytime you buy something and it heads down, that sucks. But let's say that it went up from here and then it came back down to a lower level. Actually, that's a better way to set it up. So let's say, you know, you bought down here, you got your stop loss down up at break even. You know, that's the support level. We put our stop loss below. And then let's say that we break market structure here. So if we break market structure, we break the market structure of the channel here, you might get a move down, and then your stop loss gets triggered very close to your entry, so your loss is very minimal. Whereas if that was occurring in a downsloping trading range, you're experiencing a bigger loss. So, you know, I do like the upsloping consolidation. I think that Uni is making higher highs and higher lows. I also think that it has taken a huge run up, and there is the possibility that we need to kind of cool off. Thank you for the follow, the Ananas 2021. So yeah, you know, it's had a huge run up. We could cool off, but you know, the trend is your friend until it ends. We're in a bull market. We're making higher highs. We're making higher lows. There's nothing structurally that says that we can't go higher. You just have to learn how to mitigate risk and purchase. Learn how to use a stop loss, learn where to place those stop losses. It's very important, especially when you're coming in at the speculative stage of the market. You know, we've had a big run up. We're in late of the cycle here. You know, I'm not saying that the bull market is over, but I am saying that you should have been here a year ago. We've seen a lot of appreciation already. So, you know, knowing how to mitigate risk and how to take appropriate sized positions and how to protect those positions and get involved with either my VIP group or join the Arcane Bear as well. Also, sign up for the free newsletter. So if you are joining in on YouTube, there is a link for the free newsletter. And once again, I forgot to put that link into the Twitch. I'm gonna have to do that right after this stream. But yeah, anyways, that is all the time that I have for today. If you enjoyed the content, please leave it a like if you are on YouTube, or you know, thank you for all that have followed me on Twitch. And until next time, please trade safe. It is a jungle out there. Peace.